Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Decide Now. I worked at McD's for a couple of years. And I actually enjoyed the job. Easy job, fun crew. I was promoted to crew trainer, a step below management, a bit of responsibility, a tiny raise, and got to know the new crew as they were hired. It was fun. After a bit, I decided to take a few college classes. I talked to management about switching from closing to opening. Not a problem. They wanted me to know all aspects of the store, as they were getting ready to promote me to management. I worked opening for a couple of weeks, and the owners needed our good managers at our failing location. But unfortunately, that meant sending those managers to our location. Within a couple of days, the atmosphere changed and it was no longer a fun job. 3 weeks in, the management started scheduling me for closing shifts. So I sat down and talked with the new GM and explained that I am in college and needed to be on breakfast and had been transferred there. She said, "You are a crew trainer, you will work the shifts I schedule you." I said, "Sorry, but prior management changed me to mornings. You were hired for closing, you will work closing." I told her again that I was in college and was not available. She said, "You make a choice right now, your job or college." I smiled, walked to the register, punched out, handed her my name tag and walked out with her screaming at me that I can't do that because I'm a crew trainer. Sorry lady, a part-time job at McD's under bad management or college? Bye bye. Within 6 months, all the original crew had quit and the place went to pieces. The next story is called Refunds Over Refunds. A couple of years ago, I bought a Fitbit watch from a large online marketplace. I mostly wanted to buy it from the site because they offered free 2-day shipping. The day the watch is delivered, I get a photo to prove it was delivered. I see the picture of the package and it was in front of my front gate, which was painted bright green. Normally, packages are placed inside the gate. Why it was in front this time, I don't know. I was working from home, but was actually working, so I didn't see the email telling me the watch was delivered. A couple of hours had passed by the time I went out there to get the package, but it was gone. I called the store and told them that the package was stolen and if there was something they could do. The lady said to look around and ask my neighbors to see if they took it. If it didn't turn up, call back and they would send a replacement. Okay, I asked around but nobody has seen it. I was alone at the house, but I asked my family if they saw a package. No one saw anything. After 3 days I called back and they offered to send me a replacement. Perfect. It comes to the house about a week after the first watch was delivered. My mother-in-law comes by to have dinner that night. When she shows up, she hands me a package. It was the first watch. She had driven by a week earlier, saw the package and grabbed it so no one would steal it. But she forgot to tell anyone, so she actually stole from me. So I called the store again and tell the customer rep what happened. She said she would talk to her supervisor and call me back. She doesn't that night and I make a note to call back. A couple of days later, I get an unexpected package from the store. It is a third watch with an apology and a letter saying that they refunded my card for the full price of the watch. So now I have 3 watches and my money back. I called them and asked to talk to a supervisor. I explained to them what happened and the supervisor said that they would call me back. I get an email a couple of days later with an apology and confirmation that they refunded my card the full price of the watch. Again. I call again, talk to a supervisor again and explained what happened. Again. He asked if I wanted the refund to my card or store credit. I told him, "No, you didn't hear what I said." He says, "Do you want a refund or not?" I hung up the phone. I didn't call back since I didn't want to bankrupt the store. The third story is called Not Enough Experience. This happened a while back. I worked for our county government. It was a small place with 15 employees at most. This led to all of us working over and covering days off and whatnot. The second shift sergeant asked me to cover his shift and supervise everyone as I've been in the field for 10 years. No problem. I covered the shift, everything goes smoothly and that was it. Until a week later, I was giving first shift sergeant the shift report and told him I'd been more than happy to cover seconds again and supervise as needed. The sergeant informed me that I did not have the experience to cover that shift and I should leave it to him or another officer to handle it. No problem. Cue a few days later. The second shift sergeant is needing help and coverage because he simply doesn't get a day off. I replied with, I am sorry. According to the first shift sergeant, I lack the proper experience to cover this. They recommended that you come to them for coverage. For the next few months, I did not come in on my days off. And I did not cover any extra shifts, causing the first shift sergeant and his other guy to work endlessly. They complained constantly how they didn't have a day off. My reply, as always, I hope someone with more experience comes in to help you guys. I left the job a bit after that. Good luck to them. The last story is called Humorous Per Diem. My first job out of college was as a broadcast engineer for a company that does contract work for radio stations all over the Midwest USA. Stations would hire us to work on their AM and FM radio equipment and their equipment in the studio. The company was started by an old guy who was very caring and valued in the industry for his expertise. He was my boss. He did not go out on calls very often because of his age. But there were 4 of us in 2 teams who did the field work. We did everything from maintenance to new installations to emergency repairs. Back then, radio station transmitters had an automated phone dialer with a list of numbers to call if there was an issue. We were often the first number on the list. In the middle of the night, my coworker would get a call and a computer voice would say, "This is KINI transmitter. The transmitter is offline. Error code 1234. Press 7 to acknowledge." Repeated 10 times. He would wake me up, we'd meet at the garage at 2 AM, hop in the work truck and drive through a blizzard for 4 hours to get this radio station back online. It was a fun job, but the middle of the night calls made it pretty horrible sometimes. The job also didn't pay too well, because there isn't money in FM or AM radio anymore. But one bright spot is that if we were out longer than 10 hours, we would get a big bump in pay via per diem. This was to pay for a hotel room and any food we ate during the day. I was young and cheap, so I usually would spend less than half of my per diem and save the rest. My boss was in his 70s and he hired a friend of his to run the business side of the company. This guy, I'll call him Scott, was the kind of person who would be friendly to your face and then screw you over behind your back. Not that he was dishonest, just someone who did not value people or relationships. One day, Scott decided that he could save the company money by forcing us to turn in receipts to be reimbursed for our per diem, instead of just getting the per diem in cash. We could spend up to the amount we were allotted, but we would only get reimbursed for what we actually spent. But the company was still charging clients the full amount of the per diem. This obviously set everyone off. The other guys were usually maxing their per diem spending on cigarettes, gas station snacks and huge steaks at dinners. So they were annoyed at the hassle of keeping receipts and not being able to buy alcohol now via per diem. But I didn't smoke and tried to eat healthily. So instead I bought movies and CDs at all the gas stations and truck stops. We had a week-long trip soon after the policy change. And I purchased the full DVD set of Firefly and all the discography of Metallica. I turned in the receipts at the end, and the next morning Scott called me into his office. He asked what this all was, and I explained it was DVDs and CDs. He actually chuckled and said that's not what per diem is for. But somehow he saw the light and reverted the policy back to just giving us all cash per diem. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.